Shabbat Shalom, everyone. This week's portion is a tough one. It talks about a tithe or a donation that needs to be given by the Israelites in order to build the tabernacle, in order to build the temple for God. And 4 portions are dedicated to the description of how this temple is supposed to be erected and what are the donations that are supposed to be given. And I'm asking a question today, and that is a simple question. Does God really need a dwelling place? Does he need a temple in order for him to dwell there? Does he need a physical place? The King Solomon already said God does not need a physical place. Although Solomon is the one that built the temple, God does not dwell in a physical place. So if that's the case, why do we have 4 portions that are dedicated to the building of the tabernacle in the desert? And later on, a lot of the utensils that were used in the tabernacle were used in the temple itself. Again, the question is why? Why are we commanded to build a house for God? And that goes for synagogues and other worship places that are built for God. And the answer today, I think, is a simple one. God does not really need a place to dwell in. We need that God would dwell amongst us, and that's what the portion is saying. And they should build me a temple, and I would dwell amongst them. And that doesn't mean a physical place. That means preparing a place for God to be within us. The Rebbe Mikotsk was once asked, where does God dwell? And he had a profound answer. He says, anywhere that you let him in. And we need to prepare a place in order for God to dwell within us. And that's what the tabernacle tells us. The temple tells us how should we conduct our table, our dining room table. How should we conduct our marital relations? How should we conduct our education? How should we wear our clothes? All that is symbolized within the utensils and the temple that is being constructed in this week's portion. So again, it's not about a physical place per se, but it's more of a symbolical act of how to conduct ourselves and how to prepare our house as a house of worship. All our houses should be a house of worship. And how should that be so? The portion tells us that you should take a donation. Not force and not coerce, but of the donation of the heart. True dwelling for God in this world can only exist out of freedom of choice, out of liberty. And if a person has liberty and has freedom of choice, he can conclude that he wants God in his life, and he takes the example of how the temple is constructed, and he constructs his house exactly how the temple is constructed. Holiness in the dining room, holiness in the bedroom, holiness in any aspect that we have in our life. That's what Judaism is all about. That's what this world needs to be all about. Giving a place for God to dwell amongst us. Shabbat Shalom.